To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not just their battle tactics, but their history, philosophy, art. Welcome to the Chiss Ascendancy podcast.
Well. Hello, everyone.
6 wells.
And welcome back to
The Chiss Ascendancy.
episode 73. We got to 69 and with the flash, and they just dropped off the deep end. Today, we are here to talk about marriage. Welcome, everyone, back to the show. We got a lot of stuff to cover for you today. It's a lot of newsy news, but a lot of other good stuff, too. So, let's just jump into it. Let's talk for a smidgen about the casting.
We're going to talk about birds.
Okay, go ahead. Coming in hot with the jokes. Alrighty.
I thought it was pretty funny. I'm not going to lie.
Apparently the interwebs are afire because the casting is unofficially official for Mr. One Ezra Bridger and Mithran Udo of the Chiss Ascendancy. And so, per what we expected, Thrawn is being played by Lars Mikkelsen, which is super cool because he is also the voice of Thrawn on Star Wars Rebels. So the cool thing is you'll get a great voice right off the bat.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a little sad it's not Mark Thompson, but it's fine.
I was kind of hoping that they could just cast Mark Thompson as Thrawn and be like, yeah, he grew a beard. What about it?
Do you think he does regular acting?
I don't think so. He's always done I was watching a thing about him recently, and he said that he had done voice acting for a good while, and he didn't like to read at first, but he got into audiobooks. So I don't think he's ever done acting. It'd be interesting to know, though. So, yeah, Lars Mikkelsen, he's going to be Thrawn, and then Ezra is played by Mina Masood. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. The young lad that
Kudar Mubat.
Oh, my God. He's being played by Kudar Mubat, the one and only from the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy. It's the greatest
The only
Star
man
Wars.
whose butt connects to the entire galaxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember when it took you 20 minutes to explain to me how his butt web worked? And I was like, sorry, so the web goes all the way to the planet.
No, it's basically an asteroid of his butt juice.
An asteroid?
Oh, my God. Dang, Skin was out here just joined the Methodist Church, just throwing around those cuss words.
I said asteroid. What do you want from me?
I know what you did, you sneaky man. But yes, Mina Masood, which is the young man who played live action Aladdin. And so they're not only have they both been casted, but rumor is that they're getting their own show. And so perhaps it just hasn't been announced because the way that they're setting it up kind of feels like Thrawn is like the Thanos of the new Star Wars multimedia going on right now.
I'm here for it. I freaking am here for it.
So we'll see. But I think that maybe the reason that I don't know, it's kind of weird. I guess Thanos is similar in the fact that Thanos, you can understand why he's doing what he's doing, but it's not right. And I think that maybe that it's similar.
Thanos did nothing wrong.
It's maybe similar to what's going on with Thrawn because of his desire to preserve the ascendancy.
Yeah, Thanos and Thrawn both have done nothing wrong.
Yeah. And so going hand
That's my
in hand
favorite
with,
kind of villain.
Yeah, the one that you can agree with or understand the reasoning.
Yeah, or in the one that genuinely thinks they're in the right. They just don't like, you know what I mean? They're not just out there doing things for the sake of evil. They think they're serving the greater good.
Do you think that Palpatine believed he was doing something for the greater good?
No, Palpatine was serving the dark side as he should have. He was a good Sith. Good Sith Lord.
Interesting. Well, I wonder if... But do you...
I mean, he definitely had that rationale, you know what I mean, when he was, like, drawing Anakin in. He's like, you know, there will be peace.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? But he didn't care about peace. He cared about power.
Yeah. I wonder if the... Let's see. Yeah. I mean, the code of the Sith says peace is a lie, but I always pictured that as personal peace.
Well, yeah, and it's like I think it's the pursuit of peace that, like, there's always going to be chaos. There's always going to be imbalance. You know what I mean? Seeking that out for an end of itself, it's like futile.
Right.
Okay, what else we got going on?
But as well, Disney Plus news is that apparently Mandalorian 3 has been filming in secret, and it's possible that they're almost done. I know we talked about this a smidge the other day, but the rumor is that they might be done by spring, or not done by spring, but like ready to show by spring. Whether that means February or March or April, I'm not sure.
I'm going to assume they're saying spring is like to make it sound good, but it's probably going to be like maybe as late as May.
Well, the other thing that was interesting was that that there's a new poster that came out. Did y'all see that poster?
The Luke and Grogu?
Yeah. So the thing is, it's not a poster for Mandalorian Season 3, but it is officially licensed by Disney.
Right,
so,
that is the curious thing.
You know what I mean? It's not like,
definitely.
Hey, look at this picture from Mando
Season 3. It's not fan art. It's not like, what do we think about this? What's going on with Luke and Mint or Grogu? You know what I mean? It's actually Disney putting that.
Right. It's officially like, and Disney is notoriously hard to get approval from for that sort of thing. So It makes me wonder. What the deal is with that. So, do you think that happens? Do you think that has to do anything with Mando Season 3, or do you think that maybe there's even another show in the works that we don't know about?
Because I would rather there be another show, personally.
I agree. And here's the other thing that you guys, this is some cool news. So remember when the Mando Season 2 finale came out, and we were super impressed with Luke, but when you went back in time and you watched it again, some people were unimpressed with Luke's appearance. Like, they didn't think that it was a very good job as far as like the CGI or whatever. So there was a deep fake artist who went back and was like, hey, here's what it could have been or whatever. And ILM and Lucasfilm has officially hired that person who did the deep fake of Luke from Mando Season 2 finale. And so
good on them.
You have to wonder, one, congratulations. Like, you did exactly what everybody else wants to do. So that's why we need more listeners. But it's interesting because
come on, Disney.
What else would they need that for except for to do more deep fakes? Like, it's a very niche style. So one of two things.
Here's a hot take for you.
Or what were we going to say?
Here's a hot take for you. The Luke Grogu show is actually going to be the Acolyte and Grogu goes dark side.
But the timing is wrong.
Do you remember how he just choked a person? That was his first instinct.
No, I know.
Got a dark side bent.
I know, but the Acolyte is officially 200.
I don't care.
Okay, well, there you go. But I was also wondering if it could be for Tarkin.
Oh, yes.
It could be for Tarkin for the Cassian Andor show.
Yeah, it could be that.
And or what? Just kidding.
No, I'm freaking. That's all I want.
And then I guess this is a little spoilery, but we can go with it.
Shut your ears, folks.
So this is about Book of Boba Fett. Me and the guys were talking about this a little bit earlier, today, but, some interesting, this is from Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt or a whole pack of salt or whatever. But it says, this person, I guess I won't name their name so that just in case the mouse hears this podcast by any chance, they don't go and take this person away. But it said, I have information about the Book of Boba Fett that I would like to share. I have had access to various merchandise and have gathered all the following information. So I guess whenever they see merchandising, they probably are also seeing like the little bios that you can read, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it says, again, if you don't want to know anything about the Book of Boba Fett, probably fast forward 3 or 4 minutes. But it says 3, 2, 1. Bosk, Dengar, Zuckuss, and IG-88 will all return. So my shirt will officially be off because I said I'll take my shirt off if Bosk was on the show. A side thought from that is if you read the Aftermath trilogy, you remember we talked about Cobb Vanth being in one of those what did he call those stupid things? The little side stories. Anyways, he talked about I don't remember something, but he that's where we talked about Cobb Vanth and all that stuff. Another one that they had was Dengar and his new partner Embo were around on Tatooine after right after the events of the Return of the Jedi. So that being said, well, I'm alone in here. I wonder if Embo can make an appearance because him and Dengar are like legitimately partners.
I'd be here for it. I freaking love Embo, dude.
Exact same timeline. So the dog would be dead because he's dead by the time of the Return of the Jedi in the books, but it would still be cool to see Embo. And that's Dave Filoni's favorite bounty hunter. And we know that Dave Filoni directed at least one episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
He's a freaking sick character, dude.
Yeah. Well, there was moments where he was supposed to die, and they're like, Dave Filoni's like, I couldn't let him die because he's so cool. And so it would be cool because he gets to direct at least one episode of the Book of Boba Fett. We know that.
Yeah.
Okay, going down this same line, Cobb Vanth and Grief Karga will be in the show. So that'll be interesting. I can't see a world where Cobb Vanth and Boba Fett I don't see a world where they're against one another. You know what I mean?
Sure.
What do y'all think?
I could see a world where Boba Fett decides that he wants money more than he wants friendship with some Tatooine hillbilly.
But the thing that's interesting to me is that Cobb Vanth just wants freedom. That's like his number one thing, and I don't think Boba really cares either way. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not saying he'd have like Boba would care about what he was doing. I think it just like if somebody was like, "Hey, there's this person making trouble out on the plains. Why don't you take care of him?" I don't think anything would stop Boba from doing that.
Yeah. My other wonder is how long do you think Boba Fett knew that Cobb Vanth had his armor? Do you think it was a new discovery?
I would assume that seeing as how much he wanted it back.
He couldn't have known for that long, right? He
Yeah,
just went and got it.
Yeah, I think so. Because he went after Mando like immediately after, and I think Mando's a way tougher target than Cobb Vanth.
Oh, for sure. Well,
You know what
also, Grief Karga being back in there is super sick. It says Imperial troops are present in small crews. The Tatooine Cantina will be there, so that's cool. Hopefully, the old school cantina.
That's cool.
Also, you have to remember that there's rumor of flashbacks, so we could see the cantina back in Explorer Day before the droids took over. Here's sick. Boba Fett will have multiple looks. Unsure if this means flashbacks or if he changes his costume in some way during the show. So that's really cool and interesting.
If they do a flashback, it's probable that he's going to have that tan jumpsuit on instead of that black jumpsuit.
Right.
It changes his armor look a lot.
The black is raw, though, especially with the new paint. It says there will be a, quote, battle in the throne room. So I don't know what that means. But I do know that if you've ever played Battlefront 2 from 2003...
Does that mean Jabba's palace, or are they talking about in Mandalore?
God dang it. It's got to be on Tatooine, right? Yeah. It says background Tatooine characters including Jawa, Tusken Raiders, Gonk Power Droid, and a whale creature.
Ooh, Gonk.
Yes.
Whale creature? That means Thrawn.
Yeah, what the freak is a whale creature?
I'm not wrong.
Dude,
space whale?
If you are right about the
Interdimensional
Purrgil
creature?
randomly showing up and Thrawn's there in Book of Boba Fett, I will lose my mind. I just don't see a world where that's what it is, but that would be so freaking sick.
Name me one other whale in Star Wars.
That one chick with the 6 boobs that sings in Jabba's palace. Okay. Okay, I see you. It says Boba Fett may go without his helmet for an extended period of time, which is only fitting, seeing as Tamir Morrison's handsome face is going to be there. And then it says the Sarlacc and Slave One appear together in a playset. So that's obviously just toy news. It says merchandise will initially release in November, potentially with teaser images in September or October. So we could have some info. I don't know if that means a trailer or what.
You tease Lucasfilm.
We'll see. We will see. But man, it's getting closer and closer. And I'm just excited because I remember back in the day, one of the first rumors that popped out was the freaking Hammerhead that was supposed to be like an antagonist. And apparently
Ithorian?
Ithorian. The rumor is that
Off the dome.
They have like an issue back and forth, and they end up just working together against someone else. So I wonder if
classic Star Wars.
I wonder if that means the Hutts come to reclaim Jabba's stuff. He's the lead Hutt.
I don't think they care about his palace.
I'm irritated that I can't see Samuel, but I can see Samuel on Adam's screen. Sucks. All right. And then
Sucks to be me right now.
So yeah, then the Luke and Grogu poster is very interesting. So there's a lot of stuff coming up. Very interesting things. And then a whole new wave. I guess it would be the third wave of High Republic content's coming out. So you've got
if it's associated with like the third major novel.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm guessing there's like 2 waves per cycle because it's Light of the Jedi, and then I can't remember the other ones, but it's like Rising Darkness, like or something. There's 3. I can't recall, but there's 3 time frames, and the first one is Light of the Jedi when they're kind of like in their peak, which is what we've just finished. So maybe there's 2 sets of books and comics per 1/3 of the pie.
Interesting. Interesting.
So Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Older is the young adult novel. Samuel, you may be excited, but also perturbed to know that there has been a second line of comics this entire freaking time called High Republic Adventures.
I know the like kids one.
It's not a kids one. That's the thing. I thought it was kids one too, but it's not. It's just a regular comic by Daniel Jose Older. And
Well, that's what they get for tying the word adventures onto it.
Yeah, Geode is in the
Adventures
comics.
automatically sounds like that freaking movie where God was a whale and Satan was a sea snake.
What?
You know what I'm talking about? That freaking like child's video. It was like an allegory for freaking Jesus's crucifixion, but it was in the ocean.
I recall you showing me that, but I don't know it for myself. Oh, well.
All right. Well, you're uncultured and that's fine. But
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of when in the original Left Behind, when the guy that played Trevette from Walker, Texas Ranger, he was a pastor, and then when the rapture happened, he got left behind, and he was like, I guess knowing and believing are 2 different things. That's what that reminds me of. So Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Older, that's a young adult novel. And
it reminds me of Nicolas Cage being in the second Left Behind movie.
It seems we've been left behind. We're going to steal the Declaration of Independence. God's like,
dude, imagine how easy it would be to steal the Declaration of Independence during the rapture.
Dude, what if, oh man, I want to make
brain
a joke.
time.
How much of a joke can I make right here? Can I make a good joke? Imagine if, what if a certain pastor was like, that's what you get for messing with America, Jesus. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right, so that's by Daniel Jose Older. And I want to say, for those of you who are like, oh, yeah, young adult book, I'm not going to read that. Some of the best Star Wars material.
Young adult books are fire.
Dude, Lost Stars by Claudia Gray was probably the best book to come out during that whole
Into the
Force
Dark
Awakens.
was really good, dude.
Yeah, and that's by Claudia Gray as well. So maybe it's just Claudia Gray. But dude, those young adult books are sick. And Daniel Jose Older is a great author.
I don't think the young adult books are anything to turn your nose up at. The children's book by a certain Star Wars author was hot garbage. But
Justine Ireland. That's what you're
I
talking
wasn't
about,
going to
right?
name names.
So
Yeah.
her new book, Out of the Shadows, I think dropped this week, the 28th. And it's a young adult, so I'm going to try it out.
I'll try it out. I did not enjoy the children's book. Also, she was kind of being a real piece of work on Twitter.
Yeah, she
that
was.
month.
She was being a bunghole. So then also Mission to Disaster, which is a mid-grade novel by Justine Ireland. I can find myself not reading that one, just being honest. Okay, here's a really cool one called The Fallen Star by Claudia Gray, and this
Claudia
is
Gray, she can do no wrong.
Yeah, this is
She cannot do a single thing wrong. So
this is the third Del Rey novel, so the adult novel. So you have Light of the Jedi, The Rising Storm, and then The Fallen Star.
I'm so
by Claudia
excited.
Gray. It's gonna be
Hey, how did
amazing.
you feel that this latest Star Wars novel stacked up compared to Light of the Jedi?
Neck and neck,
Really?
neck and neck. We'll get into the nitty gritty as we do the review.
Interesting.
And then my thing that I obviously am very excited for the new like adult like big novel, but something that has really caught my eye is Eye of the Storm by Mr. Charles Soule. Is a comic miniseries which is only 2 issues, but it's 30 pages each, and it's focused solely on Marcion Rowe. And so it's going to be just about him. And so
Let's read it.
let's read it. The Eye.
I love the voice that Mark Thompson came up with for
It
Marcion Rowe.
makes me feel like he needs Visine.
It makes me feel things that are unspeakable for this particular setting. No, I really am a big fan. I love it. Because I've said this before, but it's unique. It's unique to everything that he's done so far.
Yeah, dude, I think that it is super dope. I really love it because I love doing impressions. I love voices and voice. Like we've always talked about this 1,000 times, but I would jump on the opportunity to do voice acting. And so to hear him come up with something like just super random and out of the blue is super dope.
It's super cool. And I think it's cool because it's like a very unassuming voice for a character, and he's still like super ballin'. You know what I mean? I think that's a tough mark. I think it's cool that he landed it.
Yeah, I totally agree. So that's super exciting, and it's by Charles Soule, who does the Vader stuff, and so it's amazing. And so I guess that kind of takes us straight into the real meat of the episode, which is which
is, if you look at our notes, the Sizing Storm.
Is it? All right, the Sizing Storm.
The Sizing Storm. I was in a meeting with like my boss's boss, and he was trying to give me a big outline of something. I was like, "There's a typo in this."
Oh my goodness. Sorry.
And he was like, "You're the first person to notice that." And I was like, "It's there." I was like, "Anyway, continue."
Sorry, the Sizing Storm. That threw me off. Whatever. It was one of those times that I was typing on my iPad, and it's like
the Visine Storm.
All righty, ding, 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 ding. As you're typing on your iPad,
I am the red eye, clear eye,
the Sizing Storm. So I know me and Samuel.
No love for my Star Wars freaking Ben Stein crossover joke about him being the eye, and then the slogan for Visine being red eye, clear eye. No love for that. That's brilliant.
That is brilliant. That's
a brilliant joke.
That's the joke I was making.
I thought you were just talking about him being monotone. You didn't make the joke about him being the red eye, clear eye.
No, that's why I said Visine, because he's the eye and he sounds like Ben Stein.
Gotcha.
It's a perfect hybrid. What speed do you listen to your audiobooks on, Samuel?
So the thing is, I listen to it at ×1 speed, except for the Thrawn novel that came out most recently, which I listened to at like 1 3/4 speed because I needed to cook through it. I was not desperate enough to listen to this particular novel at 1 3/4 speed, so I listened. I just went and picked up a hard copy, and I just read I read like half the book in a day.
Oh, cool. I always listen at 1.2 because the delivery for audiobooks is typically a little bit slower than I like.
Yeah. Well, and at 1.2, it's if you didn't know that it was sped up, it would be hardly noticeable.
Right.
But
Dude,
yeah, I kind of like to have it because the music will be a little bit different. I kind of like to have the delivery that they intend if I'm listening to that. But
yeah, that's very true.
I didn't have the time because we meant to talk about it earlier.
Pastor John Bevere, who he writes The Bait of Satan. Anyways, great author, great pastor. But he reads his own books too when he does audio, and so
it's like Brian Jakes.
He reads like he talks, so you can tell that he's in the booth being like
crazy. And
then he had to give up his offense. And so when you're reading it, you're like, or listening to it, you're like, yes, because you can't. And then. So this is similar, kind of to what we've done for other reviews. I guess before we get too far into this, any thoughts on Bad Batch recently? Are y'all caught up?
Forgot to watch this weekend's episode. Actually. I legitimately, I just plain forgot.
Just gave myself a headache.
That's crazy.
It's pretty good. I
completely forgot.
What even happened this week?
I don't know. I don't know what's been going on in my life, but I was busy doing something. I just forgot.
I cannot remember.
I'm bringing it up. Whoa.
Crazy.
Okay, so I'm going to have the same boat Samuel.
What's the title? Oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But I will say that the title, I found out what the title is for this coming Friday's episode, and it's called Project Warhammer. So I'm wondering.
So we're talking about like probable Dark Troopers?
Death Troopers?
That's what I've said.
Yeah, maybe. That's what I'm wondering. The wound on the side of Crosshair's head is not healing like at all. I mean, it's healing, but it's like it looks like there's freaking holes in his head. So I'm wondering if it's festering. Like getting to the point where it's like festering, and it's like, okay, well, let's just put a freaking mask on him and fix it like that.
I'm just ready for some pick and waffle action. You know what I mean?
Some what?
Some pick and waffle action. It's a reference to the Thrawn novel. That was the name of the Death Troopers.
Oh,
Pick
sorry.
and waffle.
Sorry. I was totally not.
What are we doing here?
I was totally not.
What are we talking about Star Wars or what?
I wasn't thinking in that vein. I didn't know if there was a joke I was supposed to be getting.
We're talking about Death Troopers. I named 2 of them.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want from me.
Well, jumping into the Sizing Storm review, so basically similar to what we've done for like Mandalorian and things, we'll give our overall thoughts, which is kind of the bulk of what we'll talk about.
We'll waste the secret weapon.
We'll waste a secret weapon. We'll talk about standout moment, new characters or characters that stood out the most to us. We'll rate it, and we'll talk about where we think it's going to go from here. If you haven't read or listened to The Rising Storm by Mr. Cavan Scott, this is going to be full of spoilers because it's been out for a good while now.
It's pretty good. I'm going to give Light of the Jedi like a 9.5 out of 10. I'm going to give this one like an 8.5.
A whole point less?
A whole point less.
Why?
And I think it's just because so much was withheld from me, and I hate it.
So you mean like you?
I feel like.
What do you mean?
I feel like he just hinted at a lot of stuff, and I think that's cool because he's like a comic writer. Like he does a lot of comics, and I don't know. I don't like when things that I want to know are just hinted at and they don't tell me.
Oh,
like
I see what you're saying.
Okay, I want the information. Like, yeah. I still don't know what Marcion Rowe was doing the entire novel. I have no idea what he did the entire book.
What do you mean?
He just like did things, and he's like, I'm at this place, and you're going to have a clue of what I want, but you'll never know what it is. Like, I still don't know what he did the entire time.
Okay, well, I guess we'll just jump into it. So, okay, overall thoughts. I would say that. I would say that my I found myself liking some parts more than Light of the Jedi. Actually, you get a lot more Marchion Ro. You get a lot more.
I feel like we didn't get that much.
We definitely got more than we got from Light of the Jedi, though.
I mean, we would get like a whole chapter of them, but then there'd be like 7 chapters on a love interest with Elzar, which I'm not like, that was a good story arc, but I don't know. I wanted a lot of Marchion, and I waited several months to find out what he even wanted with Loden, and I still have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, that was like the end of the other novel. I expected some explanation, and I didn't get any of that.
Okay, okay, I'll give you my opinion. And my thought is Marchion, whatever his species is or whatever, and I'll say this, the reason that I was like, man, I'm excited, but I'm also kind of irritated that there's that whole other spectrum of comics. I think there are 6 out right now, High Republic Adventures. And the annoying thing is it's not by Marvel, so I have to buy them in the Amazon and read them in the Kindle versus having everything in Marvel, which is just nice.
That's
and
what
organized.
I do anyway.
So that it'll be no issue for you. But apparently, again, we're going into spoilers, so I've told you like 1,000 times. But in the comics, he's seeking for the Leveler like before the book.
Gotcha.
And so the main thing, the main issue with Marchion is he is irritated by the concept of that the Jedi have a one-up on him because of the Force. So the Leveler is something chaotic, something, and I can't tell it comes across like it's an animal of some sort.
Right. It seems semi-sentient from like the half chapter we get of it.
Right.
But,
so, in Legends,
it almost seems to like exist in a null space, like in Islamari.
I was going to say the same thing. In Legends, you have the Islamari who are these little ferret reptile, orange-looking things, and basically they would create a force field, no pun intended, where within that bubble the force cannot be used. And it was real interesting because in the not Outbound Flight, but in the Thrawn trilogy, the original Thrawn trilogy, you had a clone of a Dark Jedi named Jeruus Sabaoth, and when he would lose his cool, he would reach out and try to force choke Thrawn. And so the cool thing was Thrawn, he started finding these creatures, and he had one like next to his chair, and even from a distance, the force that was directly around Thrawn was affected. So even though it wasn't technically affecting Jeruus Sabaoth, by the time the choke or whatever got to where he was, there was this void of force.
And it would be so that anybody within the presence of an Islamari would be invisible in the Force. So Jeruus, if Thrawn approached him he had like a backpack with a nutrient rack that the Islamaris were on. If he approached Jeruus in that way, he wouldn't be able to sense his presence in the Force.
Right. The Force basically doesn't exist in that bubble. So I know that George was not really a fan of that concept. Because they're supposed to be in all things. So the way that the Leveler seems to work is that either it uses the Force or it like disrupts the Force in such a way that the Force still exists, but it kind of comes across as like a gas that Scarecrow would use in Batman Begins or some of the old cartoons.
It definitely seems. I mean, it's kind of like it. From what I understand, it acts like what it's named as. It's a leveler, like it levels the playing field.
Exactly. So you're a Force user, and now not only do you not have access to the Force in ways that that is normal for you, but you also are confronted by, it seems like, very fearful thoughts or feelings that really cripple. I mean, it's called the leveler, but it's kind of a crippler. Like it negates anything the Force user can do. So my overall thoughts, if I gave Light of the Jedi 9.5, I would give this like 9.3. Like it's right there for me.
And I can see why. I mean, like you don't have the same complaints as me. I just like it seemed to me like there was a lot of, so this is what we'll do. And then they'll do like, the cut scene. And then you're like, all right, we'll find out what they're going to do in the next scene. Except for in the next scene, we would never actually even see the plan carried out.
Yeah. I think part of that is you're playing in a very limited sandbox. So it's a cool thing where when you write a book, it's neat because it's an unexplored era. So it doesn't have to be like, now in 10 years, Darth Vader's here. You can't do that. So it's not necessarily that, but you are still limited because there are God knows how many other other authors doing their thing. So there is a weird way where the story itself is wide open, but you still have to stay in your lane because you can't do too much because there's other authors writing other things. And I think that's part of prolonging the whole High Republic line with comics and books. And
I don't know. I'm just used to a novel being a little bit more expository, where even if Tim Zahn is spending like 80% of the novel doing setup, there's still that reveal at the back end of the novel. And I feel like that want for me just wasn't satiated. I feel like the whole book felt like setup.
Yeah. It's a lot of that. You're right. So the cool thing is, I guess the main thread, of course you have the Marchion Row and the Nihil, but the main thread is that you've got you're on a planet called Valo. That's where like the real meat and interest of the book is.
The essence.
The trendy meat.
So basically they are putting on a world fair, and it's very exciting, and it's kind of cool because you're seeing the Republic still being formed, like they're still expanding.
Yeah.
They're still like one of the big puzzle pieces is the Togruta people, which is what Ahsoka's species is.
I thought that was interesting that they were.
They're not a part of the Republic.
There, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that very interesting. That they were. I wouldn't expect that species to be the holdout. You know what I mean? And they're like a warrior species in this era, whereas they're like a hippie peace artist species in the New Republic era.
Yeah,
if that's what we want to call it.
It's yeah.
Because that's a huge culture shift from the time we see them in the Clone Wars, and they're just like so easily enslaved by the Separatists. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it makes you wonder if some of the results of what's been happening on the High Republic storyline, if some of those things lead them toward this shift in culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it just me, or do you like mentally picture Lena So as a Togruta?
No, I picture her as a Chinese lady.
I don't know why. That's like in my mind. I can't get that picture out of my mind. That she's Togrutan.
Who do I picture her as? There's a specific person in my mind, but I can't remember the person's name or what they're from. But the idea is this world fair that's happening on Valo. One thing that's really cool is above the cityscape of the main province, there are these floating. What do you even call those? These platforms.
Islands.
And
they're called islands.
Yeah, it's basically imagine kind of like what the Senate pods are. That's how I picture it. Is like these.
I pictured it like those floating islands in Avatar.
Oh yeah, that's even cooler.
Yeah, that's
what
I
pictured them. So you mean kind of like organic rock, and then things are built on top of that?
Yeah.
In my mind, they were electronic at the base because they had to be produced.
No, I think but in function like those islands, because they're like one of them. They had like entire I don't know if whoever's listening's ever been skiing, but that mountain has to be pretty big to go skiing down. You know, it's got to be a mass. I mean, like last time I went to the slopes, me without falling, which was like my major accomplishment for the weekend, I made it down in 20 minutes, and that was my fastest run the whole weekend.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I think to simulate that sort of experience on just like one of them, they've got to be absolutely massive.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's what's interesting is that these huge, like almost kind of like terrariums, you know what I mean? Like where you have, well, this is this kind of frog, this is this kind of snake, this is you know.
One of them's like a whole zoo, you know what I mean? Like they're pretty substantially sized.
Yeah.
I mean, like massive, like apex predators from the entire galaxy. So
right. So it's cool because
like Jurassic World, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have one platform, or whether maybe it's on the ground where the zoo is, but it's this zoo that they've brought all of the coolest. Like, here's a T-Rex from this planet, here's a dragon from this planet, here's a tiger, like all these crazy animals. And then you have
there's like a Nexu in there, right?
Yeah,
that was mentioned.
I think so. Yeah. So
freaking cool.
all these cool platforms, and the concept is it's to show off the benefits of being a part of the Republic, and it's kind of going back to the concept of we are all the Republic, like we're all part of one thing.
Yeah.
And so then on the flip side of the coin, you have the Jedi who are really struggling after what happened in Light of the Jedi. So you have Padawan Bel Zettifar, and his master is Loden Greatstorm. He's the cool-looking Twi'lek from Light of the Jedi. And
yeah, he was my favorite character in Light of the Jedi, so I was a little bit bummed to see him take the back seat here.
Yeah, well, he's definitely the most, like, it makes sense that the book invests in him the most in Light of the Jedi. Right. To give you, like, this heartstrings moment where he gets captured. But as far as all the Jedi know, he's dead. So you have Bel, you have his new master, and then the other two, I would say the two other main characters are Elzar Mann, who is the clean-shaven Jedi, who's kind of more, he's the one who, from Light of the Jedi, him and Avar Kriss kind of have a weird relationship, and he's not been made a master in Light of the Jedi because they don't trust him because he's kind of experimental with the Force, and they almost see it as disrespectful. But he gets made a master, and he's sent to Valo to help oversee this huge thing, come into life. And then,
and I think he kind of requests that it would happen because he had that vision when he was in what's the Force Nexus planet from Bane in the
Tython.
Yeah, he was on Tython. He had that Force vision that something was going to happen at Valo, so he had like a transfer put in.
Yeah, and then your other main character is Stellan Gios, who is the very kind of Obi-Wan character of the group. He's like the poster boy for the Jedi.
What's funny is that he very much reminds me of Obi-Wan, a little bit more arrogant, I think, than Obi-Wan. But Elzar really reminds me of Quinlan Vos. So I think it's funny that they're like best friends.
Yeah, it's funny that they're best friends because Quinlan and Obi-Wan don't get along. But basically, they're setting up this huge Republic fair, and the other part of the novel is this coming to terms with what's going on with their connection to the Force and what's going on with why aren't things how they always have been, and what's where did the Drengir come from, and are they working in cahoots with the Nihil? And this whole time we've thought no, but then there are rumors that people have seen Nihil planting Drengir. I don't know how accurate that is.
I think they on Valo found like seeds for the Drengir left behind by the Nihil, which is freaking wild.
Which I don't know. That might be fake news because I don't see the Drengir being like, take my seed and plant it. That just doesn't seem like.
And I don't think that they would do that, but I definitely see the Nihil finding a way to weaponize them against their will.
Yeah, if they did find, that's true.
You know
if
what
they
I mean?
did find
I don't think the Drengir are going to be like, hey, let's not use those seeds because somebody else put them there. Like, you know what I mean? They're not going to turn their nose up at opportunity.
Yeah, that's very true. And then the Nihil, the main conflict with the Nihil is you have the huge, what is that freaking species? Anyways, his name's
Panada.
He's that species.
What are they called?
You remember from
it's in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, when you're at he's a Doetin. He's that giant
Doetin.
Almost kind of looks like a huge overgrown Trandoshan with the face tusks.
Yeah. And that chick that works for the First Order
that has the black fingers, yeah.
Yeah. The 21 Pilots fingers.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. But yeah, these Doetins, dude, they're freaking massive. And And the audio,
they just I don't think they stop growing.
Yeah, they just get bigger forever.
They just get
the voice that obviously it's changed, when Mark Thompson obviously is like had editing on it and whatever. But it reminds me of Tank from the Goofy movie 2.
You're on the next jet to nowhere.
You're going down like a 4-cent pair of socks.
What a stupid freaking analogy.
Freaking hilarious.
I never understood that. Does that mean he's going down like they're going in the trash or like their elastic
No,
is
I think
crappy?
it's like, I think the elastic's crappy, so the socks are just baggy and they're around the ankles.
You're going down like Pete Maravich's socks, which actually was kind of cool now that you think about it.
Dude, when I was a kid, I always thought he said faucet of parasites, and I was like, what does that even mean, bro?
You're going down like a freaking pestilence, bro.
I had no idea what he's saying, man. I had no idea.
Do you? I know that the Goofy movie holds like a really special place in everyone's heart, but do you find yourself going back and watching Goofy movie or Extremely Goofy movie more?
I had this conversation last week, and everybody there agreed that Extremely Goofy movie is the better film. Everybody there agreed.
What was the median age of these people?
I was the oldest one in the conversation.
You were the youngest?
I was the oldest, and they were no younger than 19 or 20.
That makes sense. I find that I believe that Goofy movie is probably more iconic, but I quote and enjoy and find myself going back to watch Extremely Goofy movie more.
I think it's the more enjoyable film.
I like it.
Yeah.
Still can't find American Tail, Treasure of Manhattan Island on any streaming services, so that sucks.
Don't even get me started. It used to be on Netflix.
I know. And you know what else?
What the frick is that about? Who's that hurting to leave those on Netflix?
Yeah. Who's doing that? Also,
I need answers.
Why doesn't Universal have a streaming service?
These are the questions nobody wants to answer.
Because that's who owns. Also,
are we on overall thoughts, or are we on standout moment, or are we on new characters?
We have butchered overall
We already
thoughts.
rated.
We already
rated it.
So give me rapid fire. Do you know what our time is at all, Adam?
We are at 47 minutes, 48 seconds.
Oh, okay, we're doing good. Okay, so give me your standout moment.
Standout moment, easy. All right, big spoilers here. So
Giant spoilers, bro.
I don't know what you're doing here if you don't like spoilers. We've already ruined the whole book. But the moment where Elzar gives into the dark side and moves an entire platform and destroys a ship with it, that was freaking sick nasty.
Yeah, that was super cool.
That's like the most powerful display of the Force I think I've seen in a novel since Bane like did a Sith ritual and created like an entire storm.
Yeah, it was very interesting that Elzar seems to flirt with the dark more. You're right. He is exactly like Quinlan Vos, and it's interesting to me that it was so quick. Like
he's like if Quinlan Vos and Qui-Gon Jinn had a baby. You know what I mean?
The greatest Jedi ever.
He's got like both of their worst qualities almost.
Oh God, freaking dang it! His elbow.
He tore his elbow ACL too.
Hey, F you, bro. He's basically if three people could make a baby in Star Wars, he would be Quinlan Vos, Qui-Gon Jinn, and who's the guy that can't get laid? What's that guy?
Rail
Averross. That's him.
You mean he's Qui-Gon and anti-Qui-Gon?
Yeah, and Quinlan Vos. He's more Rail than Qui-Gon, in my opinion. Don't you think?
I think his journey into the periphery of the Force is very Qui-Gon.
That's true. But him constantly sleeping with people around him is Rail Averross.
Rail Averross.
The Force says I can't get attached. Doesn't say I can't get laid.
Spot the lie.
Who reads that? Is that Mark Thompson?
Yeah.
Dude, imagine seeing that.
He does Obi-Wan.
Imagine seeing that line and
Qui-Gon.
being like, sick. That's so funny. What is that Master and
It's freaking
Apprentice?
Claudia Gray, dude. Yeah, it's Claudia Gray. She do be talking about the sex a lot.
She do be talking about the sex.
She brought it up in Into the Dark quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, it's narrated by Jonathan Davis.
Yeah, that makes sense. He does a great Qui-Gon.
Dude, yeah. And Into the Dark again, it was like, so can y'all get laid? And I was like, jeez, Claudia. Sheesh.
She's like, so we've been here. I've known you for about 15 minutes. Sex? Question mark. Sex, can you have it?
Can you have it? How off limits is the sex?
And then you had freaking, what was the Owen Wilson character? He's like, I don't really see what the point is.
Oh, what was that guy's name? Sparky Boo Man. But yeah, and so in the High Republic Adventure comics, they're all in those geode.
Don't get me wrong, I tried it, but I prefer drugs and celibacy.
Dude, he was like, it's okay, but it takes so much time and energy. You could be smoking the meth. He didn't really say that. But that's kind of how it sounds. Okay, so standout moment for you was Elzar Mann's display of dark side power. That was really cool.
Obviously.
Okay, my standout moment is definitely the cliffhanger at the end where whatever the freak the leveler is, what do you picture it as?
I picture it as Eliath from Loki. Has anyone else here seen Loki?
I've seen the first 2 episodes.
So when you get to like episode 5...
Oh, sweet.
There will be a giant, like, nebulous, not quite insubstantial, but definitely looks like a cloud-type creature that is basically the end of the world.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I picture it as. Because it doesn't seem to have a definite shape. It seems to be almost lupine. You know what I mean? It seems to be, like, kind of a wolf in stature.
So whenever I was listening to the audiobook, I can't recall what the sounds were, because of course when you do a Star Wars audiobook you get like, it was very windy outside, like they have like the sound effects and stuff. I think that the sound effects for it were feline, so in my head
it's possible.
I automatically was like, all right, here we go, Star Tiger.
I don't know, it's that's part of it. It's like even the description of the thing that we have no idea what it is so nebulous that I can't even get a mental image of the thing that I already don't understand. You know what I mean?
In my mind, it was kind of like in my mind's eye, how it looks is, and also, why was there a camera on it?
Obviously for the remote control function. I don't know. I don't understand anything about it.
It had a camera, and I was like, who puts a GoPro on, like, the Death Angel? But anyways,
because it's an RC, bro.
He was driving it?
RC Death Tiger. Yeah, that's what this thing was.
I can't see you.
Because it was basically talking about how he had like a camera feed in his heads-up display in his helmet.
Yeah, I got that. I didn't realize that Marchion was driving it because it made it sound like whenever it ran past him.
He needed like both halves of the remote control.
Oh,
that made like the staff.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you're right.
I don't know. Right. I'm just asking you how much Parmesan you want on your pasta over here, you know? Tell me when to stop.
Bro, check this out. One time, me and Macy were on a double date with some other folks. I guess I won't name them just to...
Sounds terrible already.
Yeah. Yes. So this guy, he's... The female in the relationship is the person that we know. And this guy is like the new boyfriend at the time. And we're at Olive Garden.
Worst.
And I'm like, can we go somewhere?
Italian Denny's.
Can I get a little less atmosphere? You know, Olive Garden's way too crazy for me. And so we're at freaking Olive Garden, and this guy comes up and goes, tell me when you're ready for, or tell me when that's enough. And he starts doing this number on the salad or whatever. And this guy sits back. I kid you not. I'm going to push my laptop away so you can see what I'm going to do. This guy sits back and goes, just kill it. This guy's got a thing of cheese the size of a football in the freaking shredder. And he's like, kill it. Like he's going to pay for the freaking cheese. Is that not the most annoying thing you've ever heard in your entire life?
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
The good thing is I can see Samuel now.
The thing that I hate about it, and it may just be your interpretation of it, but his self-satisfaction... That's what I hate. I hate how smug he is about it.
You know what I'm liking about this podcast is I'm liking how far I can sit away from the camera. This is sick. Are you snapping?
Kind of.
Oh. Yeah, no, he was definitely, wow, I feel like I'm on the Joe Rogan Experience. This is raw. He was definitely like, kill it. Yeah, it was the... Kill it.
Kill it.
Marcion Rowe. Dude, if they made a Black Series, I haven't bought a Black Series helmet yet, which
I might buy a Star Wars figure.
Oh, really?
I love Marcion Rowe. I'm telling you, he's my favorite villain since the first time I read Thrawn.
More than Kylo Ren?
My favorite novel villain.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure, hands down. Hands down. He's very interesting. He's a very compelling character.
I love him.
And and you know what though? I know this is what they're going to do, but I'm hoping against it at the same time that the Eye of the Storm comic that's coming out, I hope that it's not I liked the Rise of Kylo Ren comic. I really liked it. But there were so many things that it didn't answer.
Yeah, but I can see what you're saying. I feel like, however, we already knew a frick ton about Kylo overall, and I don't feel like I'm going to walk away from this being like, I've still got questions. Because I know so little about him, like any extra information, I'm like, oh, neat.
Yeah. I would like to have like
I think the only thing that could improve it is if it's narrated by David Attenborough.
Marcion Rowe is... It'd be cool if it was Mark Thompson doing Marcion Rowe doing a David Attenborough impression. Marcion Rowe is walking. He kind of has a Prince Zuko vibe, doesn't he?
I think he has an underlying rage, but I think he's definitely a lot more in control.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. He sees the big picture, man. That's what I love about him.
The other thing that was really, really cool about the book, another standout moment for me personally, was the moment where he takes that bird guy into the cave when he first finds the leveler.
That whole chapter was cool.
And he's like, the guy ends up dying, and his species is like slightly force sensitive, and he was like, "What did you feel?" And the bird guy was like, well, "I didn't feel anything." And you could tell he was like upset because he was wondering, why didn't I know this thing was coming? Why didn't I know this was going to happen? And Marcion Rowe was like, perfect. And I was like, oh, sick. Here I was thinking he was being nice to this guy. Literally took him there to kill him on purpose.
Because we're friends.
Little eye glows. Hey, so did you notice that, you know how he did the whole thing where he electrocuted Pan-Ada with his helmet? And then Pan tore it in half.
Also balling.
So here's my question. The new helmet that he puts on after that, is that the helmet we've always seen?
His new helmet is his old helmet, yeah. Because the adjective they used was cyclopean, and I remember it because it's such an unused adjective. It's
such a cool word.
Single. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so there's the one eye. So I guess before that he was just wearing something else.
The one that he was wearing was the one that I think he unveiled most of the way through the first book, and it has like the stars and galaxy patterns on it.
Oh, you're right.
Remember that?
The one that kind of sounded like the Ren mask.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Any new characters that stood out to you?
I guess the Thalothian chick was cool.
The
purple lightsaber.
The not Jedi.
Yeah.
Do you think she'll join the Order?
No.
Also, another big moment was, what was her name?
I forget. I don't know. I'm bad at names in real life, so unless I've interacted with the character a lot.
Okay.
And my copy of the book's at work right now, so
let me look this up right quick.
Reference it.
So, as I'm looking this up,
what were you going to say?
I was going to say, isn't it something? Also, so you have the leveler. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
you have the leveler already, but then there was something else that the girl. Man, frick. Guys, I looked up Rising Storm Dramatis Persona, and it took me to some freaking cat books. God
Interesting.
Star Wars, here we go. So She's being paid to help transport some weapon that can disable all energy weapons.
She was just, I don't think she knew what she was doing. She was just on a bodyguard.
Right. But
job.
I say all that to say, I was saying all that to say that the Nihil are now in possession of that too, right?
I can't remember if they actually got a hold of the plans or not.
So remember, they stole the whole computer out.
Yeah,
and then there's
no, that didn't actually happen. That was a cover by the daughter. She was trying to get the plans to.
Oh, she put them on the hard drive.
Nihil. Yeah, they didn't actually steal the ship's plans. So that was a farce on behalf of the girl who actually created the disruptor.
Okay, so I guess...
But I can't remember if the handoff actually happened because she got double-crossed and then rescued.
Right. So we'll never know because that's one of those things that at the end...
Yeah, it's possible Lorna D got a hold of him. I don't think we'll know until the next book. Right,
okay. And so then Pan Ada was also double-crossed, and he ends up just going back to Doeda to kill the rest of his family and just live the rest of his days. And he's also poisoned.
Yeah, and I think it said somewhere in there that he knew he was going to die, but he was going to try and hold it together long enough to get revenge. But again, a nebulous ending.
Dang. I can't remember the name of this.
We're coming out of this novel not knowing a whole lot.
Okay, so I guess the big question is, what do you think is next? What do you expect, but also what do you hope is next?
I think a lot of the Drangier issue is going to be resolved in the comics because that's mostly where that's taking place, and it was very minimally focused on. The mainline novels are mostly about the Nihil threat, and I think this is basically going to be the greatest transformation for Marchion Ro because he's basically nullifying the Nihil altogether as far as the structure that exists so that he can have his ultimate plan, which we still don't really know what it is. So I think we're finally going to get there.
His main thing is he's just really pissed at the Jedi.
Right. And I want to know why. I want to know what his in-game plan is. I want to know, you know what I mean? I just want to know all the intricacies, and I'm hoping that we kind of get there.
Right. Also, remember that they said that they were going to go and Elzar was going to like atone for his sins at the Kyber pillars or whatever?
Yeah, it's freaking sick.
That was pretty interesting. Okay, bro, what is this freaking girl's name? Ty something? Ty Yorick.
Ty Limgar.
Ty Yorick.
Are you sure?
I'm looking at a picture of her.
Okay. Who's Ty Limgar?
No idea.
It's somebody.
So what do you want to happen next, and what do you expect to happen next in the main storyline, I guess in the next novel or young adult novel?
Yeah, that's all I really just want to... all the characters are supplementary. I kind of want to see where Elzar lands. I think maybe he'll fall away because that's like something the Jedi fear, right? That's something that's pretty unheard of for a long time. I don't know if he will fall away, but I think that it's plausible for that to be the case. But I'm really most vested in the Marchion Ro storyline. That's what I want to see the most from.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was talking about the standout moment and I totally started talking about the leveler and I forgot what my standout moment was. So my standout moment is when the leveler somehow turns Loden Greatstorm to dust and he disintegrates.
Yeah, freaking wild.
So what the freak was that about? I just wanted to turn my book off.
I don't know, dude. I was upset.
I was ticked. Hey, Adam, can you do me a favor? Can you look up, because you can share your screen, is that correct?
Okay.
Can you look up High Republic comic number 6? Or number 7, I'm sorry. And on the cover of this comic is Skier's Padawan, it looks like. And she's fighting someone. And there's a red lightsaber.
Ooh. All right. Well, do you have any final thoughts? Because I got to start getting ready for bed.
It's try number 7. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
This one?
I think so, yeah. Let me see. Yeah. No. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Yes, that's it. So what do you think about this? Let's see. Oh, yeah, sick. What do you think about this, Samuel?
It's Creve. I don't know. Guess we'll see, man. I know that there's some sort of relationship that the Drengir have with the Sith. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe the Sith sense the threat and maybe go to intervene.
Mm-hmm. So,
but obviously they would have a clash with the Jedi.
There's a really pesky line from the Phantom Menace where Mace Windu says the Sith have been extinct for a millennia. So that being said, that's either a vision or a Drengir is holding a lightsaber. And you have to remember, at the end of High Republic number 6, I did really miss Avar Kriss. I really missed her in Rising Storm.
I would have liked to have her a little bit more. I recognize that they binged her because she's so prominent in the comics. You know what I mean? But I really did enjoy her character.
So,
in Light of the Jedi.
My thing is, she's going to the Drengir, like basically the Hive, to shut down the Drengir. And that comes out tomorrow, by the way. So my question is, maybe there's an item that's wherever they're at. It's got to be somewhere where the dark side is very prevalent, and perhaps there's some type of Sith relic or something that Avar or Skier or someone touches or picks up, and maybe it takes over them for a period of time. But it's kind of hard to know what's going to happen because it can't be a Sith because they have to have been in hiding for 1,000 years.
I could just be one of those things too, where it's like, I'm not a Sith, I'm just a dark side user. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it could also be the hubris of the Jedi that they're like, oh, the Sith are extinct, so it couldn't have been a Sith. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I think there's easier ways to sweep it under the rug than just to say it won't be a Sith.
Yeah, it would be cool for them to do exactly what you're saying, because the whole point of this mass book, comic, whatever that you want to call it, multimedia event is to show the downfall of the Jedi. We're seeing them at their peak,
right? And
now we're seeing the eventual downfall that really in the prequels is the worst of the Jedi. Now that we kind of have more history, so it's going to be interesting to see. But anyways, interesting stuff. Yeah. But
we should be able to revisit that next week.
Yeah, we'll be able to look at it. And then between now and then, you can probably catch up on High Republic Adventures as well when you talk about Geode. And Bad Batch. Because, Project Warhammer is this Friday.
Sweet.
So that's cool. 3 little cool segments right there. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys like this new layout. This is something we're trying. I think it's working really good, actually. I love the different camera angles. It's cool that Adam's like in the Matrix and stuff like that. So thank you guys for tuning in. May the Force be with you always.
Adam, I'm going to need your help here. And remember, the only family you have here is me. Oh, that was beautiful, Adam. Well done, buddy.
We'll see you guys next time.